What's promising to be a nearly $100 million enterprise is growing in western North Carolina's mountains.
It has the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians betting on green with a medical cannabis program. In the first of a three-part series exploring cannabis in North Carolina, investigative reporter Jennifer Emmert digs into the program, where it stands. It's more than a year in.
Tonight, she looks at when sales may begin and the profit margin that could have tribal members seeing green.
All right, that's your money, guys.
All right.
14, 2 minutes.
All right.
Let's see ya.
Harrah's Cherokee Casino, a North Carolina first in 1997,
25.
has been a profitable venture, drawing visitors to the boundary. The Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians are rolling the dice on another first in the state, cannabis. Along Cooper's Creek, behind tight security and razor wire, sits their newest gamble. Despite 15 weeks of emails to Koala Enterprises, LLC, we were denied an interview and on-site access. Behind fences, workers are tending buds, not legal anywhere in the Tar Heel State but the sovereign nation.
It's been an exciting journey, being able to see something new and so impactful and powerful come to my community.
Forrest Parker is Koala's general manager.
And we're working real hard to make sure that all of our cultivation systems and everything else are in place to make sure that we can pull this off and do it right, do it safely.
Over the last month on site, more hoop houses for flowering cannabis plants have blossomed. Along with the second warehouse, getting Duke Energy to provide the site enough power has been a struggle, along with a vital piece yet to be built.
They're in the process of putting a lab on site.
David Wiejewicz-Brama is chairman of the tribe's Cannabis Control Board.
The control board sets out the regulations of daily operation, the testing parameters, the way a manufacturing facility that would make edible products would be run and inspected.
Since April 20th, their office is receiving a steady stream of patient card applications.
The patient card that we have, a lot of technology is embedded in it. Koala Enterprises LLC is able to, with the system they have, track a seed from beginning to sale and tell you how much manpower and time that plant took and what the return on investment is.
Predicting that investment return is the gamble and relies on how many apply as development costs increase. Tribal Council was recently asked to double down on the $31 million already invested.
We want a chance to go be successful or fail. And I'm sitting here right now staking our necks out for that.
With monthly operations at Cooper's Creek pushing $1 million, Koala Enterprises LLC needs capital.
We have a bank that will loan us the money, but we have to put the money in an account to guarantee it.
Federal laws around cannabis make borrowing complicated. The loan amount, $64 million.
We just want to get the infrastructure we need to grow the product we need, because if we can't, we're dead fish in the water.
For dissenting members fear backing the loan from investment accounts in the tribe's general fund might risk casino revenue.
Move to approve as amended.
Approved by Tribal Council, Principal Chief Richard Sneed hasn't yet ratified it. The money helps Koala Enterprises lift their hiring freeze, finish the retail dispensary under construction at the former bingo hall, and funds future construction of an indoor growing facility at Cooper's Creek.
That indoor gives you a set of SKUs on your menu that you don't get if you don't have indoor.
Plus, it sends the tribe rolling towards Phase 2, a chance on a state license if North Carolina approves a medical cannabis program.
we have to somewhat be prepared for that. We're not overbuilding. We're not building for adult use. We're building for a medical cannabis dispensary.
Do they have product yet to distribute?
They have cultivated flower at this time. I am unaware at this time of any biomass fluid production.
That's what the tribe needs to make edible products. While estimates put the first legal medical sale as early as this fall, how successful the tribe's gamble into medical cannabis is may take more time.
Getting the lab on site and getting the lab up and ready takes a time period. That time period is unknown to me today because it depends on the system that they put in.
The Cannabis Control Board could open the application process to state residents in several weeks. North Carolina lawmakers are considering 5 bills dealing with cannabis regulation from medical to recreation use. Wednesday, I talked with legislation co-sponsors about the state approving marijuana. That's tomorrow at 6. Jennifer Emmert, News 13.
Possession of all but small amounts of cannabis in nearly all of North Carolina is still a crime.
But several bills that are before state lawmakers could change that. Investigative reporter Jennifer Emmert continues her series, Seeing Green. She's breaking down the 5 pieces of cannabis legislation.
She's also questioning lawmakers about why efforts have stalled while polls grow in favor of legalizing at least a medical cannabis program.
The piece is symbolic of the complicated puzzle facing North Carolina lawmakers, sorting out the right fit for regulating cannabis. Pieces that came together 8 years ago to legalize hemp and CBD. It's a fit for Art Myers.
I let my medicine be my food be my medicine.
A philosophy that led him to CBD and cannabis products and recently to HempFest.
CBD oil is what lubricated my joints. I don't feel 76 now. I run, jump, and play.
It's freaking awesome.
Bang!
I love it.
Living healthy.
With Virginia the only surrounding state to legalize cannabis, Art hopes we're next.
But I think it should be legalized because I believe in individual sovereignty.
5 pieces of cannabis legislation are before lawmakers. The Compassionate Care Act, the medical component, didn't get Buncombe County Senator Julie Mayfield's support in 2022.
The same company will have to grow, process, and sell the medical marijuana. So seed to sale is the phrase for that. And my concern about that is that it doesn't allow room for small growers of marijuana.
Tight licensing rules and fees also concern attorney Rod Kite, who helps companies navigate cannabis and hemp regulations.
The current version of the bill only allows for 10 licenses, and of those 10 licenses, only 8 dispensaries, distribution centers. So you think that's 80 for the entire state of North Carolina. If you do the math, that's 1 dispensary for every 130,000 people, more or less. You know, Buncombe County, I think, has 270,000 people. So in all of Buncombe County, just by way of example, we would have 2 dispensaries.
While none of that has changed, the bill in 2023 has Mayfield's support. I asked why.
In order for the bill to pass at all, it has to have this very tight licensing system. And so what I've decided is better for the bill to pass with this system in place that we can then try to revisit in maybe 4 or 5 years.
The measure, now before a House committee, has been stalled for work on the state's budget. Mayfield's also a co-sponsor on Senate Bill 346, adult use or recreational marijuana.
That's a Democratic-led bill, Democratic co-sponsors on that bill, primary sponsors. So that bill is not going to go anywhere. But I think what it does is it sends the message that there are some of us in the state who are ready to move where many other states have gone, which is to full legalization of recreational marijuana.
It also decriminalizes cannabis.
There are thousands and thousands of people who have been convicted, are currently serving time for personal possessions of, personal use marijuana, and very small amounts. And that, I think, for a lot of us just seems like a waste.
Other pieces for consideration: a separate House measure to legalize the sale of cannabis and a licensing program for cannabinoid-related compounds, plus sale and distribution regulations. That's hemp-derived THC, some with the same psychoactive effects as marijuana.
Somebody was caught selling a counterfeit Delta 8 product that had fentanyl in it. Okay, so we need to regulate the industry.
These products with hemp-derived THC are legal, but Apotheca owner Lee Van Tyne says should have age limits along with testing requirements and packaging restrictions.
No cartoon characters. It even says no unicorns. So the whole idea here is these products are not for children, okay? They're for adults. They need to be packaged appropriately, right? We need to have testing to make sure that they're safe, that there's no microbials in them, and there's no residual solvents in them, and we need to make sure that they're compliant.
Of the different bills or pieces, the Compassionate Care Act is furthest along.
I think it's about time.
We've needed this. The polls show that an overwhelming majority of Americans and North Carolinians are in favor of medical marijuana, and so that's positive.
Even if it wins approval by lawmakers, ramping up a medical program takes time.
There's a cannabis commission that's created. There are actually two different bodies that are created by the bill. Those have to get created and stood up and functioning.
What do doctors need to know? How do they make a formal recommendation? What do the dispensaries need to have? What kind of cards? How does a patient get a card? What does the card even look like?
The average time frame, 18 months to 2 years before the first legal sale.
Well, this is more of a one-to-one.
That leaves hemp-derived THC products as the legal alternative as lawmakers pull together the pieces before the session expires.
It just has come to the point to where it's an issue now, or more of an issue now, and I think they have to address it.
Tomorrow is crossover day when measures must win approval in at least one chamber. The legislative session runs through the end of August. I talked about hemp-derived THC Delta products. Some retailers are mixing them into food. What makes them legal and why it has shop owners seeing green. That's tomorrow at 6. Jennifer Emmert, News 13.
It's like the Wild West out here for the past 3 years.
More than 20 states have restricted or banned it, but North Carolina is not one of them.
We're talking about hemp and hemp compounds that create an intoxicating buzz. The 2018 Farm Bill legalized them nationwide, but the DEA still considers it a controlled substance.
Investigative reporter Jennifer Emmert digs into the legal gray area and the explosion of these products in North Carolina that has shop owners seeing green.
Right now, we are smelling THCA flower.
Oh, wow. Man, I got garlic bread the other day and...
This is from the same grow.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
In addition to THCA, Nick Sievers uses a combination CBN and Delta 8 product occasionally.
It helps me sleep personally, so I don't have to take Benadryl every night.
While those products can produce psychoactive effects,
It's very mild. It just kind of makes me not running through my head so constantly. You know, like when you're trying to go to bed and you are thinking of a million different things.
these legal products derived from hemp with their intoxicating buzz are no different than illegal marijuana. How is it legal? Attorney Rod Kite gets that question often.
When are we going to have, cannabis legalization? And I say, we've had cannabis legalization at the federal level for a long time. It's called hemp.
He's referencing the 2018 Farm Bill that legalized hemp and CBD.
So the full spectrum uses the whole plant. The broad spectrum has 0 THC in it whatsoever. And then the isolate is just the CBD isolate. Those were the 3 big things rolling out.
Now it's derivatives, also known as cannabinoids, labeled as Delta products, and their popularity has skyrocketed.
And people choose them, for different reasons. Oh, Delta 8 feels a little bit milder. I feel it in my body more than in my head, and I think that's helpful for relaxing or sleep. Whereas someone might say, oh, well, Delta 9 is what I'm used to, and I like it. It's a little bit stronger, or I need something a little bit stronger.
Delta varieties can now be found in products from vapes to chocolate bars, from hemp shops to gas stations and convenience stores. And in the blenders at Cafe Canna. They're pumping Delta 8 and Delta 9 into milkshakes, slushies, and coffee drinks.
I found that a lot of my customers actually enjoy the idea of having cannabis put into their foods and drinks where they don't have to smoke it, they don't have to smell like cannabis.
Still, if it has psychoactive effects, what makes this legal?
Tetrahydrocannabinol is a molecule that the cannabis plant produces. It's called a cannabinoid. And so Delta 9 THC is the most commonly known.
The Farm Bill allows hemp plants to have up to 0.3% THC.
Hemp, 0.3, If we do that in a gram, that's 3% THC in every gram. Now, if we take a large amount and we isolate that away from the hemp, it's still a tetrahydrocannabinol. It's still the same chemical that is in marijuana. That's why when I said that we've basically legalized marijuana without actually doing it, it's because we have.
Customers choosing these products should consider the dosage.
And a gummy is not a gummy. It need to know how many milligrams of psychoactive cannabinoid are in that gummy. 10 milligrams, 20 milligrams, 30, 50.
If it's self-regulated, what do consumers need to be wary of?
A lot of the stuff on the market will have a bunch of fillers in there, whether it's tinctures or gummies, and that'll actually make the cannabis not react the appropriate way or in a different way or unintended way.
At the end of the day, CBD was not intended to give you a psychoactive effect. Delta 8, these Delta variants do, and we know that they do. So that goes into the idea is, are we selling this to children?
All of the shops News 13 spoke to require ID for Delta products and only sell to those over the age of 21. As more and more customers consume these products,
You know, it's a normality to eat, it's a normality to drink, and
we make it taste good.
Yeah, we make it taste good too.
They're asking state lawmakers in Raleigh to make the guidelines clear.
Because every day, we kind of walk this gray area to hope that maybe, you know, they don't come in and seize all of our stuff.
Some law enforcement agencies in the state have seized product and opened investigations after students were sickened by THC gummies. As we told you yesterday, some of those potential regulations around Delta products are before lawmakers. You can find more on our series Seeing Green with extra interviews at WLOS.com. Jennifer Emmert, News 13.
Our marijuana online poll is still active. Just grab your smartphone, zoom into the QR code right there on your screen, and just tap on the link that pops up.
You can then weigh in on which type of marijuana do you think North Carolina should legalize, medical, adult use, or none. You can also search for the poll on WLOS.com.